having knocked out Barry Hawkins in qualifying. You beat Ali Carter, you beat Neil Robertson at the Crucible. Remember, it was his debut there, so it's a fantastic tournament. But as I say, he has struggled a little bit this season. And this man, of course, has already won in Shanghai this season. But in ranking events, yet to pull up too many trees. Could this be the week for Ronnie O'Sullivan? It's a big crowd, as you would expect again. He played well in bursts yesterday against Mark Joyce. He was behind early on. He had that sort of extraordinary three-frame run in the middle of the match. Got the job done 6-3. Table 2, Gary Wilson and Ding Junhui is available live on Discovery Plus.
The first frame, Jack Jones back.
The night session on day 3 of Snooker's International Championship in Tianjin, China. Jack Jones getting us underway. Best of 11 up against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Can he spring a surprise here? Or will it be business as usual? Big crowd, great atmosphere, favouring, I guess, O'Sullivan because he's so used to it and used to this table. This is third match on it. But failing at the initial red. As I say, Neil, Jack Jones had a great World Championship, but like a lot of players who've done well in the World Championship, then you've got to back it up in the next season.
Very true, isn't it? I thought that, and you know, in a way you could say that about Si Jiahui, who had a sensational World Championships, of course. Hasn't quite backed it up. But we saw what a really fine match player he is, and that remains the case. I mean, the thing about the World Championships is it is the thorough examination of your game, your technique, the temperament, the lot. So, you know, the fact that he got through to the quarterfinals and took Mark Allen very close tells you that he's got everything that's needed. But, as you say, he's not quite come to life yet, this campaign. And now you've got a match against Ronnie O'Sullivan here, best of 11, in front of a pretty partisan crowd, understandably, on a very easy scoring table. So it's not really any hiding place out there. O'Sullivan might have played well in the middle of that match yesterday with a barrage of breaks, but he was very shaky at the start. First couple of frames, he was all over the place, I felt, but he did, of course, redeem himself, and he won, fairly comfortably in the end. But I think against Jack Jones, O'Sullivan will know that he needs to be on his mark from early on. O'Sullivan will be fully aware and will have seen what he achieved at the Crucible. Yeah, I think the keeper was heading a little slowly into those reds, so it was hard to think that he was going to land on anything, and lo and behold, he's on nothing.
Yeah, he was never quite in control, was he? Certainly once he caught the green, he was kind of chasing the break. I think having had a taste of the big time, and it doesn't get any bigger than the Crucible, then he'll be relishing this chance today. It's just whether he can take enough of them to cause an upset. We have had a session, of course, early this morning. We had wins for Tepchara Nova, Mark Allen, Anthony McGill, Tom Ford, Jordan Brown beat Karen Wilson, Zhang Anda, Ali Carter, Ryan Day.
Yeah, I mean, what's been very noticeable this season is the lack of form of some of the top players. Now, obviously, Judd Trump has dominated the last few weeks. But Mark Allen been quiet. Neil Robertson very, very quiet. He lost yesterday poorly, and Kyron has not exactly set the world alight either. So these are real big hitters who are not big hitting basically right now.
Well, he's completely mishit that O'Sullivan, so he's offered up another chance straight away here for Jones.
Yeah, chance not taken. As I say, O'Sullivan certainly was very ragged at the start, but he really did turn it on. And he was almost on one of those free roll sessions you see with O'Sullivan, where you know he's not quite on it, but he just throws his cue at things and everything was going in. There's never been a score like him, and of course Jack Jones is fully aware of the task he's up against today.
Just on Judd Trump, he's playing Stephen Maguire, and that's a rematch of a fantastic quarter-final just a week ago in Belfast. That's been put on table 3, which I think is an odd decision. Not in this session, because of course O'Sullivan and Ding, you can understand why they're on the main tables. But that certainly could have been played on TV table in the first session. It seems the standout match today, actually, but it wasn't favoured. So, unfortunately, we can't bring you any coverage of that. We will try and follow it, but obviously Trump trying to extend his run to 23 matches. Very tough match against Maguire.
Yeah, and should it end out on an outside table with no coverage, it would be a pity. Obviously, Maguire is looking to end it. That's not really the point we're making. But, yeah, I agree with Dave on that one. It would have been nice to add some kind of an insight into that match had the chance been given to us. Well, that's covered up the left side of the table. So the safety shot's not entirely straightforward across that right side as we look down that channel. The red on the extreme right on the cushion is kind of in play, unless he plays the bottom red, which because it isn't in play then. That's it. Not great though, is it? The green away from its spot here, no cube and nowhere to hide the cue behind on that right corner.
One. Three.
Well, let's see how he starts today. A little bit more measured, perhaps, than his previous matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far it's been a little bit like early on in Shanghai. I mean, it was a different tournament. It was an invitation event, so you're playing real top players from the off. But so 4 centuries, you know, that sounds pretty good in 2 matches. But other times he struggled a bit, and he struggled a bit at the start of this frame. But he's in here, and you know anything's possible once he's at the table.
I mean, he's always going to make centuries, isn't he? That's why he's made more than anyone else. But to be honest, all week, everyone's making centuries. The tables are conducive to high scoring, as we've seen.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had 12 in the first session today. We've had 112 in the tournament. 43 were in the qualifying before we got here. But even so, this is only day 3.
17. 18. 24. 25.
Well, he's always been absolutely sensational at. He's kind of unlocking a break and making it happen, taking away the difficult balls early. You know, I've seen and heard so many players So, well, I came to the table, there's nothing there, what can I do? Well, that's true, but Sullivan has been very good at engineering a big break by getting the high-value colours in place. There was an attempt at doing so by bringing the black into play. This time it hasn't worked. I think as a 16-year-old playing in the qualifiers at the Norbrecht Castle, when he won all those matches, he would have just knocked it through here to keep the break going, because that was what he was, almost his trademark. But a little bit more watchful at this time of his life.
Yeah, we'll put in the yellow safe. Hard as nails, really. Yeah, he was sort of forced into playing that. Not easy.
Yeah, a tricky shot, and this is not quite as difficult, but again, it's missable. So not quite as difficult because he had his hand on the table rather than Jack Jones sort of queuing down from the cushion on his attempt. Well, if that red is close to pots, and it must be tight, it'll be okay, but I don't think it's a full pocket past the red closest to the right corner. Yeah, it'll definitely pot. I mean, these pockets we've seen are accepting the ball well, but he's got to pot it into the thin side of the pocket from the angle he's coming into it from. You can hit the ball on the way through, but no, that's fine. The choice of playing on the red along the cushion into the opposite corner, or maybe getting on the two reds to the right middle here. Well, he's played on that red to the left corner, where they both also go.
13.
So a chance to get the first frame won. Already he looks a little bit more on it than very early yesterday.
I think we saw in Shanghai, we saw it in Wuhan as well, although he did sort of fizzle out in that event, that he is very businesslike. He's made a concerted effort to really target these tournaments. In fact, he went to Yushan last week to officially open the World Open, which will be taking place in March. .43 in front, so these two reds out in the open should be enough. Jack Jones did have a couple of early chances in the frame.
.21. .28. 29.
Well, it's not frame of the week, but as I say, he's been businesslike. Put the yellow safe earlier on when he got a few in front.
25.
And he's just taken what's there. Hasn't taken that one, but, well, the red's gone in anyway.
I don't think he would have been playing on, Jones, but he certainly won't be now with a view to winning the frame anyway. It was a nice fluke to get, if you needed it, goodness, to put the other red over the pocket as well. Save those for when the frame is live.
41. 42.
Well, last season he didn't get past quarter-final in a world ranking event. So that 7th world title in April 2022 was his last success in a ranking tournament. Of course, he's won some big invitation events since.
49.
So in the end, he did dominate the frame. As I say early on, Jack Jones did have chances, but wasn't to be, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has done enough to take the opening frame, playing for a place in the last 16 here in Tianjin. So Ronnie O'Sullivan has won the opening frame here against Jack Jones, best of 11 for a place in the last 16 of the International Championship. The winner will play Anthony McGill. He beat Jack Lazowski 6-2 earlier. It's a packed house. O'Sullivan, of course, popular wherever he plays. Jack Jones has plenty of support, though, in general, because he's one of 10 siblings. So he's got from a big family. I'm sure Christmas must be an interesting affair. A good part and an absolute dream kiss. Finish top side of blue.
Wasn't it just? Wasn't it just with the red, the black on as well? So needs to immediately make an impression here. You're never going to hurt O'Sullivan unless you score against him. Of course, it's the obvious thing to say, but it's true. All the safety and the sort of tough match play is one thing, but keeping away from the table is the aim.
Well, Jack Jones, in fact, this season made his highest ever break in competition, 1-4-3. That was in the Northern Ireland Open. So he had a bit of form in Belfast. He got to round 3 there, but since then was knocked out of the Scottish Open, the qualifiers. He lost to Dave Gilbert. Tough match, 4-3. Good win over Si Jiawei. Obviously, the two of them had their own stories in Sheffield, but he beat him 6-4 in round 2 here.
Well, can't miss those. Pushed it to the first jaw. Yeah, that looks absolutely A1. Played on that top red above the black. It's perfectly behind it. Great shot to finish there. Didn't go from everywhere on that side. The last two shots have been understated, but beautifully executed shots. Well, this time he certainly opens the reds up. It's unavoidable. Playing through them here. He had the opposite side on it than I expected. Just took the cue ball slightly away from the black rather than down to back towards it. This is nasty shot cueing wise. Just get the cue through the gap between the two reds, I think. That would be handy. That makes it slightly more bearable. That has worked out beautifully. He didn't know about getting on that red, but he did sort of crunch the cue ball into the pack of reds to split them in all directions. But landing on that bottom red with the angle to play on the black was a real bonus, and it looks as if he would be fully expecting to get this frame one at this visit as well now.
I think, yeah, already you have to fear a bit for Jack Jones. It's not just because O'Sullivan looks focused and he's playing good stuff. He's had chances already in both frames, Jones. Neither came to very much at all. Remember the great red and nice kiss to land on the blue, but that break ended pretty quickly.
$52. 53.
Slightly overscrewed that.
60.
He'll need this red, a black, and one further red.
61.
That'll be 56 potted. Well, that's probably as good as he could have hoped for. May have played the cannon on the top red of the three, but even then, this isn't the worst. Right-handed player stretching across. And it's the one he needs to win the frame. It proved one too many, though, all the same. So the frame is not over. Be a good one to win for Jack Jones, this. That's an excellent shot. Going to put the cue ball in a better spot down that bulk end of the table. Ronnie realises that this frame has still got to be won.
His great contemporary John Higgins is already 2-0 up against Dylan Emery, so fascinating youth v experience battle that, but experience at the moment is on top, 2-0.
because he has to take high-value colours. I mean, that's one thing that we know. I mean, even if he took the blue here, there would be 50 in it, 51 on, but the black not easy to get on either, so potting that red might not really have helped him that much, taking the cue ball away from the high-value colours. I suppose he'll have to play the pink if he's got access to it. Gives him an extra point to play with. Well, it's
7.
left him a very difficult red, if the red indeed is potable. But either way, he doesn't really want to leave it there. It's worth taking a gamble on the pot if he can get on the black. The potting angle is on. They do go along the cushions fairly well on this table. I don't think he's getting closer to winning the frame. If anything, his last 3 pots have taken the frame away from him. This is a really awkward black to middle, and it has to go in, or else snookers are needed. But really, all of that just went a long way to the frame, ending up O'Sullivan's, because he missed that down the cushion, O'Sullivan to the right corner. But he's been sort of given the frame almost by default. Jones did his best, but it was always going to be a tough ask to win the frame from where the balls were.
So 2 snookers needed. Well, I'm sure he felt he could pop 1 red, the black would be waiting, but the red's not in. As I say, he's been in first in both frames, Jack Jones, but was unable to make too much from either chance. Obviously, he's not played on this table, where it's O'Sullivan's 3rd match in as many days on it. But red and the black, there are places for snookers, certainly with those bulk colours as well, so I'm sure we'll give this a go. He's renowned as a tough competitor. He gets stuck into matches. We saw that at the Crucible, of course.
1.
Remember, it was his debut there as well, so that's what was particularly impressive. The wins he had were brilliant, but in fact, he'd never played there before. Just tells you that his temperament is suited to that environment.
You're just kind of wondering, weren't you, at the Crucible when it was all going to end, because the win against Ali Carter, having won 3 qualifiers, was a big win. Neil Robertson looked absolutely incredible in his opening match. 2-1, 4-6 breaks. It looked like he was always going to beat Jack. And then, he did for him. And Mark Allen, he gave a very tough match too. There was a big roar there, or a big ooh and ah. I think they thought he must have missed that pot by a mile, but clearly he played a very fine shot. And of course, as we always say here, the free ball is definitely a concern. And the other problem is if you do play it slowly to miss it, if you do miss it and not take the cue ball out of bulk, of course, then you're leaving another snooker chance anyway. And the best idea is just to hit it. And that's about where it ends. Tough to hit though off 2 cushions. Very unlucky. This is the point I was making. He wanted to avoid the free ball, so playing it slowly. But now, you know, the next snooker is very gettable with the cue ball so close to the object ball. So either way, he was having a problem there.
Yeah, it's got interesting now. One snooker needed. Surely going to be in one here. Referee just actually want to settle.
It actually, if the ball was over half a cue ball to the left, it would be a simple snooker. But as you can see, he was always going to get something. Yeah, he's got O'Sullivan in a lot of trouble here, and there is a safe ball on the table, so O'Sullivan isn't much of a favourite to win the frame, certainly if this snooker isn't hit anyway. Again, another snooker is going to be available, playing it gently to avoid the free ball.
Foul. Checker Jones.
Do you know what? That is probably the best outcome, bar hitting it, that O'Sullivan could have hoped for. Hitting the brown and not leaving the red on, or a free ball on. Very well played again. This is excellent stuff from Jack Jones. There you just get an insight into the kind of player he is. Maybe just a glimpse of what happened at the Crucible. It's hard play, good safety, good tactical, and he scored well. Well, half a chance. It was quite a good escape from O'Sullivan. There you can see horrible bridging. This is just not a nice shot. Well, that's a pity, because that looked like an attempt at the pot, and it was absolutely miles out and not in keeping with the few shots he'd played previously, which were very good.
All that hard work looks like it's been undone. Got the two snookers, but it's going to be O'Sullivan's frame, surely, with that red going in nicely on the pink.
Look at that for a positional shot. I mean, I know the frame's over. But, I mean, look where he's finished there. And it had to be absolutely to the millimetre, because he's playing it. There's such an angle in towards the yellow that if you hit it, overhit it, you're nowhere near on it. Or underhit it. So he's just finding some touch, I think. I think O'Sullivan doesn't look at every tournament as if it's to win something, but I think the last two Chinese events that we've seen, I know he didn't win in Wuhan, but he felt he had a good chance to, and this is another one. This is a big prize fund that would set him up nicely for the season if he could get over the line this week.
Well, he could have lost this frame, but Jack Jones, having got the two snookers on the last red, then left that red on to the left middle, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has done the rest to the delight of many of his fans here. He leads in Tianjin by 2-0. So it's 2-0 to Ronnie O'Sullivan. This match kind of going to script, although that frame could have gone away from him. Jones did get the two snookers he needed.
A long way from the pot. That's why the double kiss took place, but I don't see what's on Jack Jones as he walks around to that left side. I don't believe there's an easy pot or any pot.
Well, you do feel these couple of frames before the interval huge in the match. Obviously, Jones trying to keep pace. Just the danger always O'Sullivan can go off into the distance once he gets in front early in a match. Of course, he lost the first frame to Doherty. He lost the first two to Mark Joyce, but he's 2-0 up here. Well, full-blooded attempt, but not to be.
No, but again, it's quite awkward queuing this time for O'Sullivan. You know, one thing about that Mark Davis win yesterday, it was a bit of a surprise against Luca Brissell, wasn't it, that he got the win against the world champion, but early in the match he knocked in a lot of shots, just like the one that Jack Jones missed, sort of long-range reds into that right corner. And that set him up for the early frames of that match.
Yeah, I watched his interview actually that he did with World Snooker, and it's very interesting. He was talking about, he said, I started to hear the voices telling me something would go wrong and I had to sort of shut them up. And that was certainly the case, wasn't it? Because he's 4-0 to 4-3. You could see he was getting anxious. But anyway, he got the win, and he's currently up against Pan Zhengzhu. Jones got away with that last shot for sure. Cue ball could have finished anywhere. But again, that could have gone wrong. He's knocked the red towards the left corner, but he's covered it with the black. And now O'Sullivan has to cover that same red.
Well, you can see his intention. His intention is to pop the black down the cushion. The only good news, I suspect, is he'll play it so slowly that should he miss it, it might stay over the pocket and block the pocket for an O'Sullivan red. Well, no worries about blocking the pocket. It's very well played. Excellent shot, that. A chance, and he needs to make some inroads here early on.
8.
Just quickly, John Higgins 3-0 over Dylan Emery. So, again, the playing off at the moment.
9.
Yeah, important visit this. Best chance he's had, really, in the match to put something together. He's up to 38 in the world. He was 35 a few months ago. That's his highest ever position. So he's just knocking on the door of the 32. But it's events like this. Not every event is the same, of course, in terms of prize money, and that's a direct correlation to ranking points. So if you can do well in a tournament such as this and the UK Championship coming up, then you really can improve your world ranking. In fact, if Jack Jones won this match, he would double his prize money for the whole season. He's earned 13,000 so far. He'd be on 14 for winning this match.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point I was making earlier about this event being a real springboard to the rest of the season. The points, the prize money are very high. It's the highest ranking prize fund so far this season. This is where all the Chinese events that sometimes get criticised, others embrace them. Now come into their own big prize funds. 140,000 in Wuhan. There's 175 here, first prize, and down the list it can set up a player's season for all of those events in the new year based on the 1 year list. So there's lots up for grabs. You've got to really stretch to get to this.
Three.
Yeah, so just trying to recover ideal position. He's not quite the right side of the blue, so I'll be leaving red from further away. His best run in a ranking event, semis of the Gibraltar Open 2022, but there's a case in point that it was low tariff, so he didn't really receive much of a sort of boost in terms of rankings from it. Confidence, I'm sure. We've seen players, of course, this season come out the pack from the sort of mid-rankings. Zhang Anda, Chris Wakelin in the first two Home Nations events, both getting to finals.
I would say both not dissimilar types of players to Jack Jones, hard match players, good scorers, but with an all-round game, those two. Zhang Anda's experience, so is Wakelin, and there is no reason why at some point Jack Jones should have a very big run in something, although this is a tough assignment today. We know that. I'm sure he's aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear people say, well, you just play the balls, you play the table, you don't play the opponent. But the fact is, if you play Ronnie O'Sullivan, it is different. It's a different occasion. It's always going to be packed, and you're coming onto a table that he has played matches on already. He's used to. But this is so far so good for the Welshman.
Well, it certainly would feel like an occasion playing O'Sullivan, and you know, he's ultimately the world #1. I don't know how long it's going to be until we see him out on table 3. It might happen one day if you've got a different world #1 and a world champion there and Ding Junhui in China. But you know, at the moment, and rightly so, there is no reason to believe he's ever going to be sent out to one of the outside tables.
Well, again, needs a good recovery here.
60.
That's a dangerous point in a frame, isn't it? 7 reds left, so 83 on the table. But he's not over the line, and he knows a counter-attack could take place. This plant is they're not in line, actually, and it takes some work to make this into a plant. Oh, really well done. It was a good shot, as I say. They're not dead set to the pocket as he hit them.
Yeah, very gutsy shot that, so needs to blacken another red, and he should be 2-1.
$68.
Impressive in the end, as I say, just a couple of moments he had to recover the position, but he did so. He was another Welsh player, and there's many of them who from a young age was sort of tipped for good things. He won the European under-19s back in 2010. And then he had a couple of spells on and off the tour, but eventually got back on for Q School in 2018.
77.
He was born in 1993 in the summer, and that was just a few months before Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, won his first ranking title. The UK Championship. We're coming up to the 30th anniversary of that very soon. Oh, it's a shame he's missed that, because the century was on, but he's done the damage with a very good 77. Just what the snooker doctor ordered that for Jack Jones. He needed something to happen there, and it did. He won the frame in one visit. So 2-1 to Ronnie O'Sullivan.
You duel. You duel a complete stranger. You chat. You shop. More people come to us to find Black Friday broadband and mobile deals than any other switching site. You know how this ends. Visit uswitch.com for exclusive Black Friday deals.
Health isn't someday in the future, it's now. It's same-day GP appointments. Physio without GP referrals. Cancer testing, scans and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything. Support that lasts for as long as it takes. Feeling your best every day starts today. Call or go online now for your health insurance quote.
So why do more broadband switchers choose us? EE Full Fiber is our most reliable broadband, so it stays fast even at peak time. And it's powered by BT, keeping workers working, live streamers streaming, and gamers gaming. Plus, there's even Wi-Fi controls for when you want to down the kids' devices. And switch now and get the first 3 months free with nothing to pay up front. More broadband switchers choose us. Search EE Broadband Deals.
Stilts home lifts are compact, attractive and affordable, so now you can stay in the home you love. A Stilts home lift plugs into a domestic socket using less power than boiling a kettle. Perfect. People of all ages have regained independence thanks to their Stilts home lift. So why have a stair lift when you can have a real lift? Call our UK team free on 0808 23 11 500 or visit stilts.co.uk.
Let customers pay quickly with online invoice payments in Xero.
Yes.
To keep your cash flow flowing, search Xero with an X.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan breaks off in frame 4. He's just sat out a good 77 from Jack Jones. It's the last frame before the interval. 2-1 it is to Gary Wilson against Ding. Ding's won the third, and Judd Trump is on the scoreboard. He made an 88 break to trail Stephen McGuire. That's the view that Jones had. He saw O'Sullivan sort of stand there just to see where that cue ball was going to finish. Was it going to keep running in behind the green?
Slightly better shot than it looked there, just to get in behind the green for the most of the Reds anyhow. Yeah, there's a little sliver of a way through to the edge of the Reds there, the shaded area he can't get to directly, but there's a little channel down the middle that might be able to squeeze the cue ball through. Certainly that graphic we put up gave that impression anyway. We're not actually behind the line of it. It wouldn't be the worst to see down that line either. See exactly what he can see. Deciding to go around 2 cushions. The thin glance here.
Ball and miss. Only O'Sullivan. 4.
Well, the target is between the, or behind the green and brown, and it's quite a sizable target. Maybe it's not such a big one now, but he certainly tried to land into that area. Still, it's not the worst place all the same where he's finished. I think he's got to go for it, but it's quite straight, and if you could force it in, and I actually wonder whether the black goes into the right corner. Actually, it looked like there might have been a way through to it, which I don't know if he was aware of. It may not go, but just from what I'm seeing, I feel that the black might have gone there. Would have been a difficult shot to roll it in on the black, though. It could be that there's a red in the way. Does that pink go? I think I would argue that it does. The table may not be quite as it first appeared.
Six.
Well, now you know it does go. And I think it will go when respotted as well, because it's not on its spot now, but it's along the same line to that right corner. What a chance this is turning into.
Fourteen.
I think he's a pretty determined character, Jack Jones. A few years ago, he made the decision to go and base himself in Sheffield because he wanted to play better players. And, of course, the academies there were many to play against. So it was a decision to uproot himself from Wales and try and improve rather than just sort of sit still.
22.
I think what he's very good at, and it was evident during that World Championship, which I know I keep on about, but he certainly surpassed himself, I think, with his performances that championship. But he's very good at occupying the table, keeping his opponents sitting out. You know, he makes every opportunity when he's playing well count, and he's quite deliberate, purposeful, but you know, you can be sitting out thinking that when is my next chance coming when he's in. That's a good thing to be.
31.
At the moment, he's just got himself settled nicely into this match. Took a while.
Eight. 39.
Just brought that red off the cushion into play. A little careful here, it's a rest shot. The three reds aren't in the way to the right corner, but doing it can add to be a bit of a distraction. Not seeing many blacks off the spot miss, but you feel this is a missable one. Played it really well.
$46.
Well, he's sort of just about still going, but there's a lot still on, and he's having to slightly recover things. Still 8 reds on the table. So he's been at the table for a while, but he's only 43 in front.
Yeah, he is. He's keeping the break alive. If this red to the middle on the pink, you know, he's in a position to win it. But as you say, there's still plenty of points on.
$53.
Goodness me, where has that miss come from? That's come from nowhere.
Take chunks.
Wow.
53.
Well, possibly a game changer, because he didn't look like missing that. It's one of the more simple shots in the whole break.
One.
So O'Sullivan with some development to do here. Meantime, it is 3-1 Steve Maguire against Judd Trump. So Trump put 3-1 down at the interval. Remember, he's won 22 ranking matches in a row.
Didn't work out right, that shot from O'Sullivan. Have to attempt to get Jack Jones in some trouble here. I don't think he can get him in a lot of trouble. Keeble's kind of edging up to the right corner. That's all he could do. But what he has done is pushed one red out. So he's in the frame still, O'Sullivan, albeit that 42-point lead could be a handy one at least. See Jack Jones still just recovering from what he missed, that pink to middle. Comfortable. Well, he certainly made O'Sullivan think a little bit. He's taken him out of his stride. Well, there was a huge roar from some other part of the arena here. Try and get you information on what that was in relation to. Tim Wee is pursuing a snooker on the adjoining table, and he's just put Gary Wilson in one, so it could be to do with that.
Hey. Nine.
Well, he didn't mean to hit the red. He played around the back of it with left-hand side, but he just clipped it, which means he's on it, but not quite as he'd like to be.
16.
A little close.
They
may have the shot to just swing the cue ball back into the two reds here. Played it really well. Not got entire control here when he cuts the bottom red in. The red above it could finish anywhere. He'll play it probably fairly gently.
25.
Sullivan is clawing his way back into the frame, though. I mean, that one, I think it pulled down a little bit. When he first hit it, didn't look like it was going to go in.
32.
It went in comfortably.
Three.
I was just thinking that is quite a difficult shot to play. He didn't go quite far enough across onto the black. He wanted to be a little straighter. It wasn't an easy shot to play, getting from black to red there. Just looking up the table, the green won't go into his own pocket, I don't think. The brown surely is in the way. Makes things difficult to get the frame one here.
1.
So that is the possible saving grace for O'Sullivan. Getting on the green now looks virtually impossible.
8. Check Jones, 10.
Well, he's done what he does. When he can't pot one, he plays a good safety. So 19 in the frame.
Yeah, Sullivan can afford one foul here. Well, no foul anyway. In fact, it's a very good shot from O'Sullivan. I mentioned one foul. I mean, obviously 19 in front on the, or behind on the green. You know, rare that you could conceivably miss once and it's still not changing the equation that much. But really, it feels like a green ball frame because where everything else is, I don't think the 19-point deficit will mean much if O'Sullivan pots the green. And we could easily still win the frame.
Yeah, the big moments, aren't they, setting the tone going to the interval. If Jones could get 2-2, you know, having struggled early on, then what a major result for him.
Well, he knows that's a big mistake. What a chance for O'Sullivan.
Three. Seven.
Just one big shot to play here to get in behind the pink.
Twelve.
I mean, this is where he's an incredible player because the balls aren't in orthodox places there. He's had to just invent a positional shot, and it's an absolute delight, that last shot. And the reason I say that is because he needs that angle to get on the pink, and you can finish in about 100 places that isn't perfect. Yeah, but he found the one spot that is. Beautiful shot.
Well, I just noticed something on the cue ball. This vital moment in the match, Jack Jones made the running, got the lead in this frame. Came down to a battle on the green. He left the green, and O'Sullivan needs the black to lead 3-1. He's taking his time over it. But in it goes. So Ronnie O'Sullivan does establish a 2-0 lead. He seemed entirely happy with his cue ball.
Testing the roll or something. Interesting, isn't it? What's he doing?
Well, as you say, he played a great shot from blue to pink, and he has won the frame, and it is 3-1, and he needs 3 more frames when they return in 15 minutes' time to reach the last 16 is his break-off here. So 3-1, best of 11 for place in the last 16 of the International Championship. Anthony McGill, who beat Jack Lazowski 6-2 earlier, awaits tomorrow. Worth saying the semi-finals, and it's unusual these days, but they are 2-session affairs. So one will be played on Friday, one will be played on Saturday, best of 17. Final on Sunday, best of 19.
Certainly that fourth frame was a big one for O'Sullivan to win because Jack Jones played well in it, and he looked the winner for the most part. He did sense there was a possible comeback, but I still say that he played a positional shot from blue to pink, O'Sullivan, which was absolutely superb in that frame. Inch perfect, millimetre perfect in a situation where things could have gone wrong.
Yeah, and of course Jones missed a pink, didn't he, to the left middle earlier on. He had a good lead then, 49, he was in front, and there were enough reds in play to get it won. So the pink, one way and another, played its part in that last frame. Well, it seems to have worked out really well. He's on the black.
Yeah, I mean, the black is potted. I mean, obviously the cue ball could crash into some balls here and free the pink or even the black spot if he plays it with pace. But otherwise, he's going to have to go somewhere underneath his own spot, I think. As I say, the pink spot might be freed out if he does go into these. Nothing's changed there, so the black will just be sort of slightly buried near his own spot.
Eight. Nine.
Well, it's a sort of an attractive looking table, apart from the fact that the black is, as we've been saying, awkward.
11.
But, you know, he's good at making things happen and he's staying at the table.
Twelve. Seventeen. Eighteen. Twenty-four.
I think all he's got here, surely, is just to run it through play pink to left middle. But I think he's probably playing as well now as he has all season. As we say, it's not been a great start to the new season based on the promise that he showed at the Crucible. But there's a long way to go in it.
Thirty-one.
Yeah, he actually started the season well. He won his first group at the Championship League. That was the first tournament in the sort of June, July period. But then a couple of early defeats, European Masters, British Open, so no money or points from those. Lost first round, well, won his first match, but then lost in Wuhan, having made the trip, and then Northern Ireland in the third round. So this is his best performance so far in the tournament this season. And his biggest challenge as well, obviously, playing Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, we're certainly coming to a very big stage of the season, aren't we? Now we've had some of the Home Nations events, which are always big events in the UK anyway. But you know, there's an argument that you know, this, which is the sort of the Chinese equivalent of the UK Championship, it was always billed that way, followed by the Champion of Champions, then the UK. You know, these are heavyweight events which are upon us.
No, it's very true. And, you know, there's been sort of debates in recent times about what constitutes a great of the game and what the qualifying criteria is. The truth is the circuit has evolved considerably you know, in the last, well, 10 years. And these tournaments in China, back on the calendar, are very prestigious. The China Open, before it went in the pandemic, was worth more than the UK Championship in terms of points.
45.46.
Yeah, of course, that China Open was always the last event before the World Championships. And I think it was boosted in prize money to give it the status, because a lot of people had one eye on the championship when the tournament which preceded it was being played. So the money being higher certainly kept everyone's mind concentrated on the job.
Well, he got to about this stage in the last frame, didn't he? Although the balls are better placed in this one, you feel for him to kill it off. He's already made a 77 break in frame 3.
$53.
It was a good red to open up with, wasn't it, to start all this. Then he potted that black, which has been safe ever since. Just as O'Sullivan went to the interval 3-1 up, he stayed out there and was just hitting the cue ball up and down the table, testing the roll or something. I don't know what it quite was, but we saw the table fitters out there working on something. Certainly they were doing the same thing. And the upshot of it, I don't know what it is. Well, I don't suppose in the 15 minutes or whatever you've got much time to do anything to the table.
So 2 more pots needed here for Jack Jones to not only pull a frame back, but to do it impressively.
Yeah, very much so. And now that's gone in. It's just the restart he wanted. It's been an excellent break. Black's been out of commission, as we've said.
66.
And he's on the brink of taking it to within a frame. And, you know, you have to say he's almost looked the stronger player of the two in the last 3 frames. Yes, he lost that one on the final black just before the mid-session. But he's kind of ruling the early exchanges in frames.
Well, he's doing more of the scoring. That's just a fact. And he's showing here his best qualities. That steeliness, you can see the way he's gone about this. He's not the quickest player in the world. You don't have to be. It's about the balls going in the pockets, and they have done here.
$73. 74.
Well, chance to add to the centuries pile, which is already considerable, over 100, well over 100 actually already in just 3 days. That's including, it should be said, the qualifiers where there were 43.
80.
Well, it's clearly not what he played. He just played to slip the cue ball across to the right of the red to be on it into the left corner.
87.
Good shot. He's going to get this century. I don't know if he's got the angle on the black, but they're pretty scoring friendly along the cushions on this table. So while this is not going to be an easy shot, it might be easier on this table than some of the other setups we got on the tour.
95.
It deserves a big break, deserves a century. Just going to have to force it.
$96.
Well, it's not getting any easier.
Well, it's a frame-winning break, but he'd love to just crown it with a century. This black then is the ball. Yeah, nicely done.
One, two, three.
Yeah, very good stuff this from Jack Jones, not only to win the frame, but the way he's won it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the cue ball's been all over the place in this break. It's not the kind of visit you expect from him. It's almost like one of those O'Sullivan freestyle breaks that you see where he's just putting his cue through them. But he's still going. It's a very good break indeed. And we think we've got a real game on our hands here. There's no reason to believe O'Sullivan's going to breeze past Jack Jones from here. Not what I'm seeing. Winning the match, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I think he's plenty to offer in it, the way he's playing.
Well, he had to hit back in this frame, I guess. 3-1 down. Could have been 2-2. And my word, he's done it in style. What a lovely break it's been in the end. This black for a total clearance of 130. That's brilliant from the Welshman, Jack Jones. Right back in contention. An important frame to win, but it's how he won it that will give him so much confidence. So Sullivan's lead is reduced to 3-2.
Let customers pay quickly with online invoice payments in Xero.
Yes.
To keep your cash flow flowing, search Xero with an X.
Who said the driving experience can't be reinvented? Fueled by petrol, driven by electric. The feel of electrified driving, all of the time. Nissan Qashqai with e-Power, a unique electrified experience, unplugged.
Health isn't someday in the future, it's now. It's same-day GP appointments, referrals, cancer testing, scans and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything. Support that lasts for as long as it takes. Feeling your best every day starts today. Call or go online now for your health insurance quote.
Peloton is more than a bike. It makes strength, boxing, or maybe yoga your new thing. It turns a run into a pretty epic workout. Just maybe not today. It's a calming word when you need it most.
To relax.
And if you need a quick break, it's your perfect escape. It makes working out, workout for everyone. Get up to £500 of selected packages.
O2's Black Friday deals are now on. Get 30 gig of data for just $12.99 a month. Find your deal today. Search O2 Black Friday. O2, see what you can do.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan had to sit out that 130 from Jack Jones. 3-2 to O'Sullivan in this last 32 match at the International Championship. John Higgins, at the moment, the closest to victory. He's 5-1 up against Dylan Emery. Steve Maguire still 3-2 up, last we heard, on Judd Trump. Well, not ideal when you've just dominated a frame to set up some sort of opening for O'Sullivan here.
One.
Well, it looks okay. I mean, he's on the blue at worst. He's interested in whether the pink's available, which it may well be. I don't know whether he tried to nudge the red and the pink out. Seems possibly unlikely that he had that solely in mind. He was trying to avoid the bunch more than anything else, the natural angle. Ooh, now that did come as a surprise. I mean, we're not really seeing players miss those any longer. You know, the cue ball was fairly close to the object ball. I didn't see him missing that one. So there's a few slightly concerning signs for O'Sullivan's fans. Jack Jones is getting his sort of teeth into the match, and it's perhaps affecting O'Sullivan that he's not getting much table time. He's just the same as anybody else. Sitting in your chair doesn't always bring about positive vibes.
Yes, and it's worth saying these flat draw events, so last 1 to 8, everyone in round 1, and you play pretty much every day. O'Sullivan hasn't won one of these for 5 years, the UK Championship 2018. Now, since then, of course, he's won World Championships, he's won some real big limited field events, but these sort of day in, day out tournaments, we have seen already this season in Wuhan, his challenge did fizzle out a little bit against Lou Hyachin. Jack Jones may be sensing an opportunity here now, having seen him miss that blue.
7.
He'd love to get the blue on its spot. I mean, it's a more difficult pot than yellow or brown, but you know, getting that on this spot in the middle of the table is in his best interest for this break. Well, there's an opportunity. I mean, obviously the black at this stage is not available, but it didn't stop him last frame from scoring plenty because it was not available for almost the duration of the whole break.
One of the maybe small thing in his favour. He's only played O'Sullivan once. It's not like he's coming in, you know, it's 7-0. There's lots of batterings to look back on. They just played 10 years ago. It was a very low-key match in early round of European Tour event.
That's a great strike. I mean, he really has. And usually you just look at the cue ball. It doesn't really budge from the middle of the table. And that's a good sign. If you see the cue ball glance off the reds onto a cushion, you know you haven't hit them square on. That was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, and also he seized the opportunity. He didn't wait there. He had the chance and straight away was looking to strike and get everything into play.
It's becoming a very interesting game of snooker now. You know, it's not a formality. I never thought it would be, but there's always a chance that O'Sullivan's going to just sort of brush anybody aside, which he's done for about 2 or 3 decades. But I don't think it's going to be the case here. He's the wrong angle on the blue, and he's pretty good at the shot all round the angles, but he's also considering playing his next shot at mid-range.
.25.
Well, he did, but he hasn't potted it. That was a big chance once he got the reds into play. Didn't continue much past that.
Yeah, and that's a bit like that pink that he missed earlier. You know, surprisingly, and from nowhere, Jack Jones missed his last ball, and now all of a sudden, from nowhere, O'Sullivan is in with a squeak of getting his 2-frame lead back, because Jones didn't quite do the damage it looked like he would in that break. It's all right to outplay O'Sullivan for 3/4 of a frame or half a frame, but it's all of the way through the frame you have to do it. His powers have come back in clearances, etc. This time he's not even that far adrift in this one.
$14. 15.
Yeah, interesting shot there. I mean, a lot of players might have played on the loose red, but he thought he'd just take the pink out of the gap between the two reds to further the break, I would think, down the line. No one's better at the shot selection in the balls than O'Sullivan. We always say it, but you know, if you are a young player, you can learn so much from the first 2 or 3 shots in a break that he plays, which certainly can alter the rest of it, make the table more accessible. I mean, when it comes to tactics or other sides of the game, you know, Mark Selby or John Higgins could be the person to really study. But break building and scoring, there's no one quite like this man.
$35.
Getting stuck in, isn't he, O'Sullivan here? There's no sort of just wafting the cue at a few like he sometimes does. You know, I think he appreciates that this is not an easy match for him. He's knuckling down. It's just a tough little shot here to hold. Beautiful, beautiful cannon. It was on, but beautifully executed. But there's definitely a sign that he's, if you like, easing his way into this tournament, I think, in the course of this match. Maybe he'll feel that he can, if of course he keeps winning, just get better and sharper. It's almost an invitational. He got stronger as the matches in the event went on. Not many players can do that.
Well, Jack Jones finished wrong side of the blue, left himself the mid-distance red, missed it, having, of course, got everything into the open.
59.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan just checks the scoreboard. He needs this black for 4-2, barring snookers.
Yeah, getting very interesting, isn't it, the way the match is unfolding. So that is, as Dave said, 4-2, barring something very unlikely.
Well, of course, in that second frame, he did get 2 snookers successfully, didn't he? So O'Sullivan, you could see he was a bit disappointed not to actually finish on the red, but he's played a good safety nonetheless.
Well, there you have it. He's got one. I mean, he might be able to swerve it, although the ball that's in the way is a little bit further down the line than would make it an easy swerve. I don't think the free ball is going to be a concern this time because he's going to go beyond the red and back down this end. Obviously, he could hit the red and that'll be that. A bit harder, I think he'd have potted it.
He did that to Selby, didn't he, in Belfast that time, in that bit of a different scenario. It was a deciding frame of the semi-final. He was snookered. I think a third attempt he potted the red.
I was going to say, yeah, third attempt, and then cleared up. I mean, it was extraordinary, really, that Selby's last shot was laying the snooker and then sort of putting him back in a couple of times from the miss. Don't see that very often.
But finished it once and for all. There's just a little bit of danger with the red on and the knowledge that Jones has already nearly stolen a frame from this position, the second frame.
Yeah, what's against him though here though, Dave, is that there's not one colour close to a cushion. Now you need, you know, all things being equal, you need maybe the pink or black a few inches from either a side cushion or the bottom cushion, you know, to hide the cue ball behind. Yes, he's got one here, but it mightn't be such a difficult snooker if he's got one at all. You just look at the position of the colours and they're a little bit central.
Meanwhile, Ding Junhui's pulled back to 3-3 with Gary Wilson, so you can hear a bit of applause next door. That's what that's about.
I did get a tweet earlier, which I was going to mention, from Liz Humphries asking about what about the conditions and why are they favourable? Why are the tables easier with the same spec? I get your point. It's a good question. I mean, basically, there is a template and all the pockets are meant to be the same, but they're not, basically, and I don't know why that is. It could be the different cloths and the different fall of the slate, but, I mean, the point that we've been making is that the conditions are beautiful for playing on, and the balls are going in off the jaws, and the pockets seem bigger, and they are bigger. The breaks will tell you that. So it's very easy to conditions, not easy to explain quite why, because the universal templates seem to fit all pockets, but these are just not the same, and they don't even look the same, quite honestly, as what we've seen in maybe Cheltenham for the British Open, where they were tight. Thanks for the question. Now, Sullivan is going to just take the frame here and get his 2-frame lead back.
Yeah, significant frame, the way it played out. Jones was looking confident. He got the reds into play off the blue, but then he missed that red, and O'Sullivan made the 67. And, well, the next frame, I guess, is even bigger, because if he can get to 5-2, it's hard to see him losing. He's doing what he does in these tournaments. He's sort of coming good when he needs to. He did that in Shanghai. He did it yesterday in a spell mid-match. And he's done it again here. He's not playing flawless snooker, but he's done enough to win this frame. Just as Jack Jones had the 130 in the previous frame. But we're back to where we were. 2 in it. O'Sullivan leading in Tianjin by 4 frames to 2.
3-7. Jack Jones to
So it is 4-2 to Ronnie O'Sullivan, who needs 2 more now to book his last 16th place here in Tianjin. This is a tournament He's yet to win. He played in it 4 times in the 8 stagings pre-pandemic, but we know he's committed in a big way to these Chinese events this season. Already won 1 of them.
Yeah, the one he won in Shanghai is a tournament he's almost made his own, isn't it? He seems to love that event, whether it be the original ranking version of it or more recently the Invitational. Amazing game, isn't it? How on earth has he left that red? You know, it looks a pretty innocuous little shot to nothing. The red, if you get near the pot, it should stay at the other end of the table. It's nudged another ball and left the red to the middle. It's something you could never see happening.
Yes, another frame where he's in first, but we saw what happened when he faltered in that last one. He looked like he had a good chance. He just came wrong side of the blue, left a mid-distance red, which he didn't pot, and that was basically it.
Seven.
I think what we've seen in the sort of last few years, the tour in terms of strength and depth has improved, and far more players now are competitive than they used to be. But of course there's a difference between being competitive and winning. You know, you can make every frame close and you can still lose every frame. So it's about taking these sort of chances when you get them. He may be fortunate to be on the initial red, but now it's about making it pay.
Yeah, the other thing is that the very top players are extremely good at snatching frames away from their opponents if they just do falter at any point. You know, we know what John Higgins has done over his career, and you know, all the leading players are really capable of just clearing up. 50 behind, 60 behind, what difference? If the balls are there, they'll pot them. So you've got to take it all the way, these early chances.
Twenty.
This is not great. And we know that they're not that difficult down the cushions here, so he might just decide to play the black at pace to get up for a red. But even then, obviously he can't play it on the red to the left corner because once the black is respotted, it'll be in the way. I think he could screw this in and get on the red into the same pocket. I'm not saying it's an easy shot. I think the table will accept the ball if it's played well enough. Yeah, That's a lovely shot. I can think of tables where that would be very, very difficult to play, that shot, but not this one.
28.
Well, Judd Trump's attempt to win a 23rd match in a row is fizzling out. He's now 5-2 down to Stephen Maguire. So Maguire came so close to beating him in Belfast. Just had an 88 break to go 5-2 up. Could be the man to end that great streak. Seems a shame, not for Maguire, he won't care if he wins, but seems a shame that was put out on table 3. They could have played it 36. On one of the main tables this afternoon. I suppose the run had to end sometime. It's not over yet, of course. He was 5-2 down to Higgins, wasn't he, in Brentwood? But it seems Maguire's playing particularly well in that match, so it's going to be tough.
$37.
One thing you can take from that that scoreline with Judd Trump is that Maguire is playing a lot better. I think that's pretty evident because it was he might fall off the tour, and it's hard to believe. We mentioned about Tep Chai was in that discussion for a while, but Maguire is seemingly back somewhere near his best.
I think he just felt he was too high on the blue there, but he's recovered quite nicely off the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, there was always the danger that this frame could take that trend of some previous ones in this match. He'll be looking to avoid that. The two reds, I think the left-hand red of the two below it, that is available, but he's got the shot to just nudge the bunch open here, if he feels that's the shot off the green, and also chance of plant. If he plays the brown, it suggests that he thinks there's a plant on the left side into the right corner. Otherwise he'd be playing the green, I think. So if the plant's on, he's well placed to knock it in from there.
44.
Just looked like he was aiming slightly across it there. Hope that he wouldn't miss it to the left jaw as we look. It looks like he should be able to make it into a plant. Well done. It was left-sided, but only just. It's well executed shot.
45.
And now he must convert it to what it looks like being, and that's a frame-winning chance.
Yeah, he's sort of refusing to go away here, isn't he, Jack Jones? We've seen players, you know, lose a key frame against a top player and sort of capitulate a bit, but that's certainly not happened here. After the disappointment in that last frame, he seems to have completely cleared it from his mind. Just focused on the job in hand here.
49.
Well, that may not be too bad. Clearly not as played. He meant to avoid the red that he nudged.
55.
That red, and I think the one in the amongst the three, both pot to the right side, right corner.
56.
Be a little careful on this. It's slightly on the stretch. It's just a simple shot to play up for the next red. No problem. So it's another frame that, you know, he's kind of bossed the early and middle part of.
63.
And it might be that on this occasion he takes it all the way, because this is frame ball. Been a good break.
Yeah, chance for another century, but either way, frame-winning break. He's had the 130, he's had breaks of 77, 53, and whatever this ends up as. As I say, just refusing to go away in this match.
$71.
Sullivan has just had to sit and watch it.
77.
Yeah, much earlier in the break, those two reds were where they are now, and I still think that the bottom one will pop, but he's made do with all the others.
Well, it's going to have to be some sort of trick shot to continue. But 83 was a fine break, particularly after losing the previous one. So Jack Jones sticking in there. And Ronnie O'Sullivan has his lead reduced again. Can Jones level up? That's the next question. Turns. And still has got to get this match won. Ronnie O'Sullivan has had his lead reduced again to a single frame. 83 the break from Jack Jones. As I said before that frame ended, though, can he now get level? He's sort of been chasing this match all day. Can he level up?
How about that? I mean, the pot and the... I mean, he deserved what happened. He kissed two reds, and a little bit of right-hand side on it, and he's absolutely bang behind the black. He's turning this match. It really is. O'Sullivan is being kept in his chair, and he is no different to anyone else. He doesn't like that. Doesn't like being away from table time. And I think early on, O'Sullivan knew that this was going to be tough. And he was proved right, because it's now looking a match in which if it got to 4-all, you know, you've got a fairly long snooker match here, a long session, best of 11. Might start to favour Jack Jones a touch. Not saying he'll win. I'm saying that he's capable of doing so.
$16. $17.
He's always aggressive when going into the bunch. You know, he really takes on the shots, even though he is a fairly studious player. You know, he's not frightened to take the big shots on as and when he needs to. It's not an easy red to middle now, whichever one he chooses. You know, you get the feeling both could easily be missed. He did miss an easy pink to middle, left middle earlier in the match. One of the few that he has missed. So this could go wrong.
Jack Jones, 24.
So no huge surprise that the break ended there after the split didn't work out on the bunch. That red that Ronnie could cut to the left middle. The cue was just travelling out of control into the bunch of reds. I mean, you need to be lucky to pot it and get on a colour anyway, put it that way. This is a more difficult pot. Do with a bit of help here. Well, not the worst kiss. Hard to think that he wouldn't have finished on something though there in potting that red.
Just quickly, Judd Trump's pulled one back, so it's 5-3 now to Maguire on table 3. Well, an interesting juncture, I think, here, because, again, Jones was in. He was looking good. Couldn't quite keep it going, missed that red to middle. Now, what response does O'Sullivan have? He's having to sort of hold the opponent off here.
Well. It was never in. I mean, he missed it by far enough into that pocket, which is not small. I think maybe because he wanted to hit it thick, to pot it thick, to get the cue ball across top side of the black. Ultimately, it's a poor shot to miss. And Jones back at the table more swiftly than he could have ever expected.
One. Six.
So he's not been punished, and that must give him a lot of hope here in this frame as he attempts to level the match. Seeing O'Sullivan fail to take advantage of his own miss.
Seven. Fourteen. 15.
Just starting to play that kind of snooker that he played at the Crucible. He sticks in my mind. I was on quite a few of the sessions he played, and you know, the way that he was unrelenting against Neil Robertson, who'd been playing well, and then you know, it took Mark Allen an awful lot to beat him.
23.
And Mark Allen, that was one of the players of the season. A difficult player to shift, and he's in that sort of mindset here, it seems, against O'Sullivan.
30.
Well, this has gone wrong. Just that little kiss. Could have landed plumb on the red, but it looks like he's on nothing. And had he landed on that red, surely 50 in front, he would have closed it out.
It's what I said earlier on, Dave, isn't it? 50 in front, it doesn't mean a great deal. And not if the balls are there to pot and you leave your opponent a chance to pot them.
Check Jones, 30.
Well, could be a big moment. We'll see. Could still win the frame, of course, but had he landed on the red, I'm sure he would have done.
Well, he's taking this on. He missed it by an absolute mile. I don't think he wanted to play it, really. I mean, he knocks the pink in and gives 6 away. Doesn't really change much. What does look significant is the chance that he's left. Because it's one of those shots that you don't really want to be going for that 50 in front. But I don't think it's an easy safety shot. Yeah, you'd have been congratulating him on his shot selection had he knocked it in. A sort of brave ball to take on. But now he missed it by so far. It looks a definite opening for O'Sullivan, who's been kept very quiet.
Yeah, his great chance to win this frame was the previous time he was in. He lost position. And he'll be fearing the worst here, surely.
Very true. O'Sullivan's just got to pick himself up a little bit, which we know he can do. Because no one likes to be kept in their chair and stifled of any playing time and table time. And that is kind of how this match is going, and that's a lot of Jones' game is about.
8.
Yeah, anything can go wrong, anything can be missed, but close in like this, O'Sullivan was no one better.
Yeah, you can miss it, but as you say, but it doesn't appear that the balls could be placed any better. I mean, obviously, even that red along the right cushion, you say, well, that's difficult. But if he gets behind it, virtually unmissable, I think, along there. But that's providing, as I say, that he gets on it perfectly. It is if you're not facing the pocket straight behind it. It's a golden chance, which is kind of one that maybe O'Sullivan didn't think he was ever going to get.
$21.
Just to say, a couple of 50-somethings knocking in the breaks. Dominic Dale's had 2 1-3-2s, and Mark Davis has had a 1-30 and a 1-3-2. They're both trailing in their respective matches, but still producing terrific snooker. O'Sullivan, of course, is 48 next month. Still plays a young man's game. Big moments in this match. Jones was looking almost a certainty for 4-4.
36.
Well, well, well. There you are. Now, has he got on the red? I think he has.
Only outside back.
To his great disappointment, he's on the red. When you think that you know how this frame was going to end, that blue was missed. I think he was keen on whipping the cue ball around the angles, and it just took his mind off the pot a little bit. Of course, not an excuse, but most players at this level will miss pot for a reason which is not just the angle of the pot being misjudged. Played a very interesting shot there, because I think he felt that green and blue was a problem for him, despite his 9-point lead. So he's played on the blue. Green might have not been easy to pot otherwise. Well, he wasn't sure about that, but what he did do, he's pushed the green a little bit awkward there. Yes, from the line he's at now, if he potted the yellow, he'd be able to get the green, but if he underhits, the brown might just be in the way. And he'll need it. Needs yellow, green and brown. Somebody in the crowd moving, not helping the pressure he's already feeling. Played with right-hand side.
8.
Just took the pace out of the cue ball, that side he had on the ball. So, just got to gain position on the brown. This is another shot that is not... It's not impossible that that could go wrong. Played it well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting a bit tense, wasn't it? Understandably. It's been a pretty extraordinary frame, actually. O'Sullivan looked a big favourite in the end to win it. Missed that blue. Jones needs... There's the answer to the question we posed. Could he level up? Yes. And O'Sullivan with a bit to think about here. When he had the chance initially with the Reds where they were, you thought he's a big, big favourite to win this frame, but it didn't happen. Jack Jones stepped in here from the last red.
26.
And this now best of 3, and it is anybody's. Jones has fought back well, showing good resolve. That was not a straightforward clearance, but he's made it. And the match is all square at 4 frames each. And off here for the moment, anyway. The Ronnie O'Sullivan challenge. And he's not happy, is he?
Well, that was an early in, which he was just stretching a little bit on. Got lucky there. Got very lucky there. Safety shot went wrong, and not only that, it's slightly awkward cueing for O'Sullivan. He's looking at this long red. He can just get to enough of the cue ball, I think. maybe just to play safe off it or to put it up with a shot to nothing. I wouldn't quite say the wheels are off at the moment, but they've come loose.
Well, Jack Jones just can't quite punish. I mean, there's a serious chance here to land an upset in this frame, in this match, but it's 2 attempts he's had at reds that have not gone in.
Well, it looks bad, but sometimes it's the best thing for the cue ball to just go in off on a safety shot of that kind. I can tell you that it does appear that, despite us not being able to see it, that Judd Trump, this golden run, is very close to coming to an end against Stephen Maguire. Maguire 5-3 up and looking like he's about to convert that to a victory. It certainly was one of the matches of the week so far, you know, on what we saw when they played recently in Belfast.
Yeah, great win for Stephen Maguire, who of course come back to form in Belfast, and he joins only Barry Hawkins and Hamad Mir as players who've beaten Trump in ranking events this season.
Well, the ball's close together here. Got to be careful not to play a push shot. Well, he didn't play a push shot, but he hit a red on the way through. That's kind of, it looked innocuous shot. He was playing harmless shot, but in the end, he's left the red on, and he might have done some damage there.
Yeah, chance for O'Sullivan, but to confirm Judd Trump's run of 22 successive ranking event matches, one has come to an end. Stephen Maguire has beaten him by 6 frames to 3, sent out to table 3 and defeated. A great run though, what a month he's had. And well, I suppose he can now return to the UK, get ready for the Champion of Champions and the UK Championship, but it had to end sometime. Great win for Maguire, every credit to him. He plays Ryan Day in the last 16.
Flip. Four.
There was a match that was taken off earlier, Barry Hawkins and Ricky Walden. Well, they came back and Hawkins won 6-4, so he won the frame he needed after a long wait. So Barry Hawkins, he keeps doing it, doesn't he, under the radar and all that. And he will play Tepchara Nu in the next round.
Tap.
Well, again, I'm not sure quite which colour he played on there, but whichever it is, he's no good. Hard to think that he would finish on anything from that previous shot. I probably tried to get the pink into play, but without the access of a replay, it's hard to know what he was trying. So, mistakes have gone slightly unpunished already in this frame. Well, what a difference it makes if you're not queuing over the top of the brown. You'd fancy O'Sullivan to knock in this long red and take the cue ball back up the table, but he's very awkward now, so he's not even going to entertain the shot.
Yeah, once again, his application of Sullivan's been excellent, but he, in the last couple of frames, started to make a few errors. So he's really having to dig in. This is what he did in Shanghai, though. There were times there where it looked like he'd lost his way. The John Higgins match was one, but turned it round in style. And you always feel that's possible that it could suddenly spring to life, and before you know it, the match is done. I'm sure Jack Jones will be aware of that as well. Just a bit awkward with black and pink where they are here.
And this time the brown was not there to get in the way in queuing. So it's not an easy looking table with the pink and black sort of surrounded by reds. Has he gone far enough? Maybe just.
6. Seven.
Yeah, fans next door, they're engrossed obviously in the match with Gary Wilson, which is 5-4 to Wilson.
Golf.
That's a nice shot to bring the pink into open play. That was nothing short of a slash from O'Sullivan, let's be honest. It was never going to go in the middle at that angle. He's pointing to the pink. Quite what he's pointing to, I don't know. But it's the other player's shot. But apparently it's being cleaned. Well, obviously putting the cue ball somewhere in the sort of bottom half of the table means he can still get to the pink. Taking it up and down the cue ball.
But we've seen him, of course, at the Crucible, the biggest tournament we have, the World Championship, stand up to that against Ali Carter, against Neil Robertson. He played a great match against Mark Allen as well. Had another result. Daniel Wells, now he win yesterday over Neil Robertson with another one over Zhou Yulong, who won 2 6-0s actually. Daniel Wells.
Tough.
Well, while we watch this dramatic match, there's another one on table 2. Ding is levelling up here with Gary Wilson, so it's going to be 5-5. The decider coming as Jones looks to get into the reds, but he's made the cardinal sin of missing the blue. He played the cannon, he didn't pop the blue.
77.
I think we need to concentrate on our own table. It's getting interesting. The other match will get interesting, but when the next frame starts. So this is now quite a dramatic frame. By far the most error-strewn of the match, but in some ways the most important, because it's nothing really happened on the scoreboard, and Sullivan is a few in front. Just when Jack Jones had to continue the way he has been, he's made a few errors, and Ronnie will sense that.
Yeah, if he just had to pop the blue, I'm sure he would have done, but it was obviously the divided concentration, trying to get the good cannon. Took his eye slightly off the pot. Happens so often. Sullivan, though, is going to have to develop these reds himself to get the frame one.
14. 15.
Well, the little dance suggests he's not on the red. The red doesn't go.
No, it's a hand, isn't it, in the context of this frame? And I know that Ronnie's quite a difficult man to please, but you have to be content with a 29-point lead in a terrible frame, and a way of being one up with 2 to play. I just had a little look back, at that shot that Jack Jones missed. It wasn't an easy pot, was it? The cube was quite close to the yellow, and it was, as you say, divided in concentration between, the pot and position. But it was not easy. It was the kind of mistake he hadn't been making necessarily before this frame, though.
Well, it's on a knife edge. This frame, this match. 29 in this frame. Every red pot's now, though. That's what's changed. Yeah, including that one.
Not perfectly on his next colour. Pink to middle, he's probably going to have to play to land on the red, but they are missable shots, these. Locating the angle, they're not easy.
And what's added to the tension is the other match going to the decider. You can hear a lot of Ding fans next door, understandably, making their voices heard. So it's just adding to the general atmosphere.
Now, they're not easy shots, but he got it. That was very missable. Now, can he summon up a clearance or something that could get him one up with 2 to play himself? Because this frame he's not really performed in, but he's still in there. 22 points behind. Doesn't feel a lot with Jack Jones at the table with this opportunity. The balls are not perfect, but they're not that bad either.
Just quickly, Lou Hyashin, our latest winner, 6-3 over Dominic Dale. He'll play Zhang Anda in the next round. Of course, Lou Hyashin beat O'Sullivan in Wuhan.
Overdone it, and sometimes when you use the extension on your cue, you just end up with a little bit more behind the shot than you want to in the way of pace and sort of weight on the cue. So he's overhit slightly. Well, he took a slight risk there. It wasn't the most difficult of doubles, but the bottom line is he didn't get very close to it. The only crumb of comfort is that O'Sullivan will need that yellow ball, which is not in the perfect place to pot. And it's not impossible by any means, but it's away from its spot, and you've got to get behind it to make the shot more gettable. Be 25 in front, so they only need the yellow if this pink goes in. Yeah, I mean, you would fancy him for it, but as we know, with the rest, this is a shot that could easily go astray.
Well, he's had to really scrap out this frame. You can hear the cheers from the other table. This is a big shot in this match, though. And it's not there. It is not there. 25 in front, 27 on.
Sullivan doesn't use the rest all that often, given that he plays left-handed shots. But there was an instance where he really could have done with a good one with the rest. That's an interesting one. He might be able to get to the right edge of the yellow, but that kind of suggests the in-off is very possible. And that's what he'll be thinking. Not him, but the man behind the cue. So he's playing off 2 cushions because that edge might just be enough to go in off directly. Needs help. Oh, goodness, and he's not really got it. I mean, it's an acute angle to middle, but the cue ball is right behind the yellow, so, you know, he'd be taking this on gently. Good shot that, you know. I mean, it looked nothing, but if you don't get those into the sort of the part of the pocket right close to the bump, they won't drop at all.
5.
So it's not an O'Sullivan frame. It's the frame that in his career often he's come second in. But he's won it. Jack Jones has lost his composure, I think, slightly. A very scrappy frame indeed in the context of this match.
Well, like I say, what's changed for Jones is he was sensing a chance to win the match. O'Sullivan, the fluency's gone from his game, but he's battling hard, calling on his experience. And he got the frame won, and ultimately that's all that matters. It puts him within 1 of victory. Very scrappy, dramatic as well. It's gone to Ronnie O'Sullivan, who needs 1 more to reach the last 16 of this international championship. So Ronnie O'Sullivan scrapped it out. He needs 1, Jones needs 2.
Done with that going in and getting in early in the frame. Instead, he's not got the ball safe. Now, black's not available, but O'Sullivan might have a chance to put this match away if he can get himself in here. There's only a half chance with the colours where they are.
Yeah, but he's not won yet, although it sounds like Ding has by that cheer next door. That's what they're cheering about. But I was going to say, it proves, if he does win this match, O'Sullivan, just how hard he is actually to beat if his head's right and he's determined, because, OK, there's been times when he struggled in terms of his game, but his application has held up, and that's so important. We saw it in Shanghai.
6.
And it's important in matches like this. Well, you can hear the cheering for Ding. So a great win for him. It's a terrific match, that, with Gary Wilson.
Shots played in succession by the great man, and a chance to just bring that red out to the right of the bunch here. If you can just play that, the touches have returned, and the last 3 shots have been pretty deadly.
Well, as O'Sullivan attempts to win this match, Ding is on a victory lap next door. It's been high quality stuff, and well, you heard the local fans have been delighted. It could be place Pang Zhongzhu's 5-3 up on Mark Davis, and that's in a little section with 2 of the Chinese players as well, Lu Haishan and Zhang Anda.
4.
But important again, say with O'Sullivan, but for Ding to keep his head and dig in, and in the end he has done.
47.
Looking for his first ranking success since the 2019 UK Championship. Delighting the fans at the end here, dominating.
Ding Zhongli.
redt zijn vel tegen Gary Wilson. Ja, dat is nu wel zeker. Wint die partij met 6-5. En dan gaat het plots snel met de uitslagen die binnenlopen. Want Dominic Dale heeft verloren van Lou Haushan met 6-3.
21.
En dan zijn bijna alle namen ingevuld voor de achtste finales. Hier de laatste momenten in de partij met Ding Junhui en Gary Wilson. Uitstekende wedstrijd was dat. Op een beter niveau dan de partij met O'Sullivan en Jones.
29.
Fourth. For the fifth.
36.
47. $52.
Die even laat zien dat niet alleen Trump dat soort ballen kan maken. Of Lisowski. Oh, wat een knal, jongens. Het zijn moeilijke tafels, hè. Zeg maar even bij zeggen. Ja, heerlijk moment voor de fans in China. Ding Junhui is door. En nu zitten ze allemaal natuurlijk stiekem ook te hopen dat deze O'Sullivan doorgaat. En dat die twee dan het nog eens tegen elkaar kunnen opnemen. Dat zou dan in de halve finale zijn. Mag zo blijven. En dan trekken ze allebei een beetje de neus op. O'Sullivan doet dat wel vaker. Jack Jones doet dat ook. Dan kunnen ze straks nog even nakaarten. Maar het belangrijkste is dat we O'Sullivan terugzien in de volgende ronde. Hij wint niet zonder moeite met 6-4 van Jack Jones. Ja, daarmee zitten de laatste 32 er bijna op. Nog één uitslag hebben we nodig. Pang Jung-Chu tegen Mark Davis. Staat 5-3. En hoe dat afloopt, ja, dat hoort u morgen. Morgen zijn we natuurlijk terug met het vervolg.